Hello Year 6 and welcome to Friday's Maths Challenge. Now today is the Friday off SATs week when we should have been having our big breakfast, so I hope that you've been sending in your photographs. We're looking forward to seeing them. And don't forget what Miss Simpson said at the beginning of the English this week. We are really proud of all the hard work that you've been doing so far this year. So although you haven't had the SATs to show off exactly what you can do, we know what you can do, so don't be disheartened. So now on to Friday's Maths Challenge, and don't forget these are very challenging. They're meant to be family challenge, so they go beyond Year 6 level. So on the next few slides I've got a few hints in case you want to go a little bit further. So let's see what this challenge is going to us. Now the first few start off quite easy, so just have a little look at this. So you should be able to work that one out fine by yourself, and the same actually with challenge 3. Now challenge 4, a few little tips for you with challenge 4. What's that distance? Do you know the distance between the first and the last tree? We know the distance between the 3 of the trees there. So what's the distance just between 2 trees? And then count the gaps, because we know the distance between 2 trees, and when we know the gaps, we can work that one out. Okay, on to challenge. Challenge 5 does take quite a long time. You have to fiddle about with those numbers, but there's a couple of tips that we can get. If you get the numbers in this box right, then you will be able to get the rest of it right quite quickly. So forget about the rest of the calculation first of all, and just try 4 numbers to try and give you the answer of 41. An even better place to start might be to look at these in this column. What 2 digits are going to give you an answer with a 1 in the ones? So that's a really good place to start. Okay, so here are 2 identical rectangles, and we've got a grid, the same as when we did our coordinates and coordinates grid. Now, what we've got that's really going to help us there is the distance from point A to point B. So look at the coordinates, that can help you figure out how far they are apart. And then once you know that, you can probably work how far along C is, couldn't you? Now, there's another little tip for us. The length of each rectangle is double its width. So if we know what this distance is, I think it could help us work out this distance. Okay, and don't forget with the coordinates, it's along the corridors, then up the stairs. So challenge 7. What do we know? Have a little pause of the video, see what you know about this. Okay, so we know that it only sells one item, crisps for 55 pence per bag. What else do we know? We know how many coins, but we don't yet know how much money it was. Have a look at the first row. We know that they've got 4 £2 coins, but we don't know how much that added up to until we work it out ourselves. So there's a few things for us to do. And then, how will we be able to find out how many times 55p goes into that? Lots of lovely maths to be had there. Okay, challenge 8. Just have a little look at challenge 8. What do we know here? We know there are 3 boxes. We know that in each box there are 60 counters. Will that help us work out how many counters there are altogether? If we know how many counters there are altogether, we know what 100% of the counters is, don't we? Can you then work out what 10% is? How will that help you work out 70%? That would tell you then how many counters were in box 3, wouldn't it? So then you have to work out how many counters went from box 2 to box 3. Don't forget, the same number of counters were moved from box 1 and box 2. So if you find out how many have been added to box 3 altogether, can you work out how many were from box 2? Okay, now this one is using ratio and proportion, and we haven't come on to ratio and proportion yet. That's a little treat for those for after half term. Now, have a little look at this then. So she has twice as many 20p coins as 10p coins, and 3 times as many 50p coins as 10p coins. Now if you want to have a go working this proportion, think about this. So on the side now, you can see it's appeared we've got a 1 and a 10p. Let's imagine that she has one 10p. How many 20p's will she have? Let's look back at her speech. Yeah, she'll have two 20p's. How many 50p coins will she have? 3. That's just to help us get our head around it, imagining if she just had one 10p. But now, look at the amounts now. If she had one 10p, she'd have 10 pence, wouldn't she? And if she had two 20 pence pieces, she would have 40p. And if she had three 50 pence pieces, she'd have 150 pence. Okay, so for those who work it out in ratio or proportion, this will help you. Your ratio is 1 to 4 to 15. Now, if you're not sure how to do this one with ratio, don't worry about it. Have a go. You might want to do some drawings, have a chat with somebody at home. But if you would like to have a go at ratio with somebody at home, those are the numbers that you will need. Okay. Finally, on to challenge 10. Now, challenge 10, I worked out using algebra. Okay, so let's have a look. What do we know about this? Have a good look at challenge 10. Okay. We know, looking at the second bit here, the bottom bit, the perimeter of the shape is 94 centimetres. So to work it out with algebra, to start you off, have a think. 90 centimetres is the same as 4 widths and 4 lengths. Can you see the shape at the bottom? Where did I get those 4 widths from and those 4 lengths? That's right, there's two shapes put together. So those two shapes put together have 4 widths, 2 each, and 4 lengths, 2 each. So, can you see there's a red line appeared? That line isn't going to make up part of the perimeter, is it? So although 94 centimetres is the same as 4 widths and 4 lengths, missing. There'll be some missing from this shape. 1 width. Can you see the width that we won't count? Have a look at this shape here. There's a part of that shape that we won't count in the perimeter because it's being hidden. So that actually is 2 widths. So the formula that we will need to calculate this is 94 centimetres is equal to 4 widths and 4 lengths minus 2 widths. Now, don't forget what we said at the beginning. This is a family challenge. The idea is that everybody in the family is challenged by these maths challenges which get harder as you go on. So if you think to yourself, actually, I'm just going to have a look at the first few, that's fine. The idea is that challenges 1 to 6 are year 6 level. And if you'd like to go any further, then that's absolutely fine. The answers will be on the website as well. Okay, good luck.